Welcome, everyone, to the ScreamCast, episode number 37, if you're keeping count. I'm your host, Sean DeRager, and with me, Brad Henderson.
Are you drunk?
No, I've had one beer.
God, that means you're drunk.
Nearly close.
That means you're drunk.
We would like to welcome all of you new listeners to the show. Announcement, we got picked up by oneofus.net. They're going to start hosting the show, and we're super excited to be a part of their little podcast network that they got going on. Brad, can you tell people about oneofus.net? Because I know them through Brad Salisbury and then Junk Food Cinema, the podcast.
Well,
but I'm sure you have more history with them. Yeah,
I mean, you want me to give the rundown?
Yeah, for those? Okay, so we got people listening from oneofus.net, and then we got our current listeners who are like, "What the hell is oneofus.net?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. One of Us is, I mean, it's just a collaboration of guys that there's a few podcasts that are on there. There's like Digital Noise and a couple other things. I mean, mostly just your go-to for reviews and video games, and TV shows and stuff like that. So I've looked at it and visited plenty of times. But they have a few. I think Watch a Movie with Us is another one.
Yeah.
The Diecast, which I don't know. Actually, I haven't listened to that one. I just knew what that was. But yeah, I mean they have quite a bit of reviews and people that write for them. So it's a pretty big outlet.
Cool. Well, we're excited.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we are. I'm on day number 4 of a boner, so I don't know what that's all about.
That's fun.
Anyway, today we are talking 1980s prom night, and Paul Corupe from Canucksploitation.com is going to be joining us in a little bit to talk to discuss the movie. So we're looking forward to that, but I believe we got to get to some Blu-ray announcements before we go any further.
Do you like what you see?
I love what I see.
Would you like to touch what you see?
Yes, I would.
I'm going by a couple of... I've been in contact with the guys over at Vinegar Syndrome and the guys over at Synapse, and I've got a little tidbit of information that is not really known to the public yet.
Are we about to drop some news?
Yeah. I got a few that people are aware of, and then I got some other ones that are kind of newer.
Cool.
So, as far as I know, Vinegar Syndrome says they haven't announced. Wait, you know what? I think I just lied. They announced Frightmare the other day, didn't they? I was late to the game. I had this information like last week, and I fucked up. But anyways, Frightmare, one of my favorite little 80s horror films, is coming out on Blu-ray, which is kind of a big deal. Because number one, it has one of the badass fucking cover art. You probably remember it from when you were little. Maybe you didn't never see the movie. But it's a bunch of kids, drama kids, who... I don't want to give anything away. I don't know how to actually sum up this movie. Basically, a bunch of drama kids want to, say, pay tribute. So they steal this body of their favorite horror movie star, and for a farewell party. Well, something fucks up and shit gets real. Pretty fun flick. It's goofy, it's weird, but it's definitely right up Vinegar Syndrome's alley. So
nice.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Is the cover? Now
there's is a knife through like a skull,
right?
Through
Okay,
the eyes.
Because there's another Frightmare that was released through Redemption.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's a few Frightmare movies, probably, I think. So,
this is the 1974 one that I'm looking at, but the one we're talking about is...
Yeah, this is 1980.
Different, yeah.
83, something like that.
Okay. Because I googled Frightmare, and of course the one I see is the 1974 Frightmare. But that's about to change, people. Right?
Well,
right?
I'm maybe. Well, like I said, there's a few. I mean, this happens a lot.
This one has the more badass cover art. That art's fucking awesome. The 1983.
You are correct.
Frightmare.
Right. Another film that Vinegar Syndrome has announced. We actually talked about James Bryan on the show last time with the Bleeding Skull guys, because they mentioned they had the Run Coyote Run flick. Well, Vinegar Syndrome's releasing Don't Go Into the Woods.
Nice.
In the past, I think Code Red did the DVD, maybe. And now they're doing the Blu-ray. Haha. Which is pretty funny. Pretty Peaches, of course, comes out on Tuesday, if you guys are into vintage hardcore porno. Desiree... what's her name? Desiree...
I'm not about to Google a porno on my home computer right now.
Why?
I'm just kidding. This is my computer. I can do what I want. Juliet Anderson?
No. Desiree...
Lisa Sue Corey? Desiree Cousteau.
But yeah, she's in this.
Okay, turning this tab off.
She's one of the major starlets that came up in the porno industry and then disappeared. But she was in a few pornographic films, and Vinegar Syndrome's releasing 1,500 copies of the first installment of Pretty Peaches. They previously released DVDs of Pretty Peaches 2 and 3, but now they are paying tribute to Alec Dorenzi's Pretty Peaches on Blu-ray. So I'm actually pretty excited about that. Along on Tuesday, we have, of course, Christmas Evil, which is also known as You Better Watch Out. I think this is a film that had quite a few titles back in the day, but I'm not a fan of so much of the cover art for the Vinegar Syndrome on this one.
Yeah, I'm
really hoping that they have a reversible artwork on this. The old school. Actually, the old school VHS cover wasn't all that great either, because it was just a picture. It was actually very misleading because it was like a cartoon and actually looks like a kids movie. And
that's just mean.
Yeah, I have the beta. I have the beta tape somewhere in my collection, and it actually says, "Holy shit!" It's right on top. Give me a second. This is live when we do this type of shit.
Yeah, no scripts here, people.
Yeah, it's it actually has him on with an axe, and it says first came Halloween, then Friday the 13th, and now. And then it says this Christmas you better believe in Santa or he'll slay you. And it looks so cartoonish, because the only thing that makes it look like a horror film is that he has an axe, but there's no blood on the axe. So as a kid seeing that, I thought that was kind of a Christmas movie. And then I watched it, and I was like, "Oh shit!" It is kind of funny at times, but Yuletide's Killing Spree. But anyways, that's coming out, which I'm pretty excited about. I love that Vinegar Syndrome's dipping into kind of the rare horror films. I mean, they've done the Night Train to Terror thing like that, and of course, The Last House on Dead End Street got pushed back again. Which I'm a little upset about that one. Madman is back on track, which we've heard, which is another past Code Red movie. Our Code Red release. And Demonoid, of course. That was another one that's announced. And did you announce Creature from the Black Lake from Synapse?
Yes.
Then we're good. I've heard they got Popcorn in the works.
Cool.
Which is one that they really have been working on pretty hardcore. And I think they're still trying to get the Kindred off the ground. I heard that is not dead, which it was for a little while that they said. But as far as I've been told, the Kindred is still in the works. They're just trying to locate a couple rights issues. But that movie is such a kick-ass monster flick. Like, it is so good. It looks so good. It is... It's just something to be seen, and sadly, it's never had a DVD release. There's like some kind of Swedish bootleg or something like that that came out, but other than that, I mean, this movie hasn't seen the light of day, and it's a really, really, really good horror film.
Cool,
like no joke. And it's actually the guy that directed is Stephen Carpenter. He's done The Dorm That Dripped Blood. Soul Survivors, which came out in like 2001, and The Power. So yeah, definitely check that out.
I'm going to check The Power out. I think it's the DVD's going out of print, so I've been told I should pick up The Power.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking out there.
Well,
man.
I keep hoping for a Blu-ray release, but I don't know.
I think that just was released on DVD not too long ago.
Right,
so I don't
Scorpion.
think. I don't think we're getting a blue of that. So, but anyways, that wraps it up.
And well, Tuesday also finally Monkey Shines and The Dark Half are out via Scream Factory. So if you haven't pre-ordered already,
did we not announce those?
We announced that they were coming out, but they're out. They're out Tuesday.
I'm speaking. Kino is releasing the Cabinet and Dr. Caligari, the 1921, which is a very fascinating film. Accelerator's releasing Housebound, which is a New Zealand comedy in vein of like Peter Jackson type shit from back in the day. Slaughter Hotel's being released by Raro. What the Peepers Saw by VCI, and of course Warner Brothers Archives is releasing The Picture of Dorian Gray.
Sweet.
So,
some good stuff.
Wrap it up.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the Blu-ray announcements. So we're about to talk about Prom Night.
There's a special night in the lives of all of us. A night to be beautiful, to be desirable. A night we can break all the rules and make our own. Prom Night. Everyone at Hamilton High is getting ready for Prom Night. It's a day of rehearsals, arrangements, final preparations, and last-minute phone calls.
Nick? Wendy, do you still like to play games?
They're too old for games, but someone still wants to play.
Why?
Kelly, it's been a long time. Tonight, it's my turn.
Tonight, someone has come to the prom alone. Someone who watches in the silent corridors.
Kelly. Help!
Someone who waits until no one can help. Prom night. If you're not back by midnight, you won't be coming home.
The 2008 remake, starring Brittany Snow, Scott Porter, and Jessica Stroup, directed by J.S. Cardone. No, that's directed by Nelson McCormick. I'm just kidding. We're not going to talk about that piece of shit.
The remake's not that bad, by the way.
Isn't that bad? Okay, well...
It's not that bad.
All right, well, we're going to talk about
for a remake. But
1980s Prom Night. Jamie Lee Curtis's third slasher film that year. Starting with, The Fog isn't really a slasher, but The Fog, and then Terror Train, and then Prom Night.
Thanks for clarifying.
And with us to help talk 1980s Prom Night, Brad, is Paul Corupe, who runs Connexploitation.com. Am I correct in that, Paul?
That's right.
All right. I was actually unaware of Connexploitation.com until Brad turned me onto it. So
Yeah,
I live by it.
So, Paul, why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you do over there at Canucksploitation.com?
Well, I've been doing the site for a really long time now. Actually, I've been doing it for 15 years.
Cool.
It kind of started as a bit of a project to look at Canadian genre film, because in Canada we don't tend to have very much respect for these films, and I'd read about it in books, and they'd always say, "Oh, there's a bunch of films made in the 70s and 80s, and they're all garbage." And I kind of started this as a project to see, well, I knew some of them were garbage, but some of them were probably not garbage. So I started watching a lot of stuff and writing about it on my site, and it just kind of grew, and I found out about more and more titles. So I've been doing it for a really long time. And I guess I'm kind of one of the experts on this kind of thing by default, because nobody else wants to do it. So it's not exactly a badge of honor, but it's some kind of badge anyways.
I think it's badass. I've learned a lot of shit from Paul, and he's kind of my, even if it's not, Canadian made, he's the one guy that if Paul says, "Hey, watch this," I am going to watch it immediately, because I know that it's going to be either horrible but amazing, or it's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
it's always going to be amazing. So if Paul mentions a movie, I guarantee that you will have a good time if you watch it.
Very cool. What are some of your favorite recent discoveries, Paul, that you've written about? I'm looking on the site right now, and I see voodoo dolls, and I just oh my god, man, I feel like I need to track that down.
Oh man, yeah, voodoo dolls is pretty heinous. Yeah, I mean, I guess that the big thing that happened lately, and I guess I think it was about a year ago, we tracked down a film this film that had basically nobody knew anything about it. I found it in the Canadian archives. It's kind of like the Library of Congress, but for Canada, and they just have copies of all these films. I found this movie in there called Sex Killer. And I had absolutely no idea what it was. It's never written about in any book. From 1973, and we ended up contacting the director, and I was like, "What is this?" Like, I assumed it was some kind of like something weird video, kind of sexploitation kind of thing. And he was like, "Oh, well, actually, yeah, that's porn that I made when I was like 23." And I was like, "Oh, okay," because there was actually no classic porn made in Canada. It was illegal to show it here, so at the time. So as far as we knew, nobody made any. And anyways, we dug it up. That got put out on I think Synapse put it out about a year ago or something like that. So yeah, I mean, stuff like that is just it's what I do the site for these days, right? It's the chance to uncover something that nobody's ever seen before. I'm sitting at home watching this for the first time, and this is something I'd read about for 15 years, and I'm probably the first person to see this in 40 years, and it's just like, it's incredible. It's an incredible experience, even though the film's not very good. It's still like a important part of our Canadian film heritage that's been like totally like nobody even knows about it. So that's the kind of fun stuff I like to do these days. It's
pretty incredible. So what? Explain to me this, Library of Congress or whatever. Because I know that I don't know. I mean, do filmmakers when they make a film, do they ship a like a reel off to the government, or
yeah, essentially
how does that work?
Yeah, essentially, you are supposed to do this. Not everybody does, but I mean, it's a law, but it's not like an enforceable law. So, like, the police aren't going to knock down your door because you didn't send them your book or whatever. But you're supposed to send a copy of every book, every film, to the library and archives, and they're supposed to keep it. So these guys did it in 1970, which is strange to me because, like I said, it was illegal to even show the film anywhere. So it's strange that they did that, but there you go. If they had not have done that, nobody would have known about it today. So thank God for the Library of Congress and the way they archive our pornography.
That's incredible.
I like pornography.
You know you do, Brad.
This is no secret.
How you like that?
Brad, how would you compare Synapse's porn selection to Vinegar Syndrome?
Doesn't even compare. Doesn't compare at all.
And Brad's the only one I can ever ask that seriously and get a serious answer.
I don't know, man. There's just something about it. I mean, it's once you actually, because I mean, on the outside of when I very first, Vinegar Syndrome was like, oh, they're releasing vintage hardcore porno, and I requested a review copy for Night Train to Terror, and then I just get a fucking box full of porn, and I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? So I emailed them like, dude, I don't know how to review porno, and they were like, oh, just watch it, whatever, thanks for being a fan. Whatever. So I watch it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is actually kind of good.
Yeah.
And then I got hooked because, I mean, they're movies. They're like full-on movies. So, some good shit.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds stupid, but you almost end up fast-forwarding through the porn because of the plot. Or it's just kind of like a terrible low-budget movie with a bunch of hardcore sex scenes. So even if you don't care about the sex scenes or, the terrible plot is usually enough to keep you interested.
And that's what I liked what they did with they released Dracula Sucks, and on that DVD they have the theatrical comedic horror film that they did just with the sex cut out, known as Love at First Bite.
Yes.
And I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And you watch it. I watched it. I'm like, man, it doesn't really seem like there's porno in this movie at all, but there is.
Yeah.
And then I watched the porno.
Of course. Well, you need to, artistic integrity. You need to watch the whole thing and to be able to review it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, enough about porno, gentlemen. I know Brad can go all day talking about porno.
I can.
Anyway.
Wait, did you just do a dad laugh?
Yeah. That's a fake laugh. That's a fake laugh.
Yeah, that's a dad laugh. That's what I'm talking about.
I was cracking a bad joke and knew it was bad, so I did the dad laugh.
Yeah, did you do the knee slap too?
Almost. Almost. I'm a father of 3. I'm allowed. Pretty much once you have kids, you start disintegrating into your father. This is the sad truth of it all. Anyway, we're discussing 1980s Prom Night. As I was saying before Paul joined us, it is the third horror movie that Jamie Lee Curtis did in 1980, and Roger Ebert was not a fan that she was kind of pigeonholing herself into horror. And actually, of the 3 released, I think Prom Night is my least favorite of those 3. It was The Fog, Prom Night, and Terror Train were the 3. I wanted to ask you guys, where does Prom Night kind of lie in that year for you guys? And as far as Jamie Lee Curtis's, resume of horror movies, where does Prom Night land? I'll start with you, Paul.
Well, well, I'm gonna echo. Well, I'm gonna go even a little further than your comment. And I mean, I kind of look at Prom Night as its place within Canadian cinema. For sure, for like in the general slasher cycle, to me, Prom Night kind of marks the beginning of kind of the rip-offs, the kind of weaker, Friday the 13th kind of rip-offs that started to come out. It is actually probably one of my least favorite of the Canadian 80s horror cycle, slasher cycle in the early 80s. The 3 big ones to me are Happy Birthday to Me, My Bloody Valentine, and Prom Night. And for me, Prom Night is kind of the least interesting, the least effective as a horror film. There's stuff I like about it, but it's kind of not it's not a very strong film, and it's definitely not really even a standout performance for Jamie Lee Curtis for me. I feel like she's much better even in Terror Train, which again, which is not a great performance either. But it's kind of it's for me just that kind of beginning of the kind of lamer knockoffs of wait a minute, why am I watching this when I should be watching Friday the 13th again?
Right. How about you, Brad?
I like Prom Night. No,
that's fine.
I get what Paul's saying. I mean, it's it feels that it's completely different from the traditional slasher that we always see. It doesn't really ever achieve that full-on slasher film. To me, it's more like a drama, and it's just. I mean, first of all, Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, so it doesn't really matter what's happening. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That's the reason why. But no, I mean, I just enjoy it for what it's worth. I'm not going to go out on a limb saying it's fantastic or great, but I enjoy it for what it's worth. I loved when. I wish that Jamie Lee Curtis never got out of horror at that time, because that's all she did. Uh-huh. And then when Trading Places came out, then she didn't touch horror again until probably H2O. Yeah. I wouldn't even consider Mother's. What was it? That movie, Mother's Boys. I wouldn't even consider that a horror film. But yeah, it was just sad. Mm. But I'm one of my favorite, other than Halloween, is Road Games. That was one of my favorite Jamie Lee Curtis horror films that she did in the 80s. But it's sad that she didn't jump back. I love that she did Virus in '99, though. That was a turn of events. But
I rented Virus just because she was in it. Back when that first came out, I was like, well, she's in it, so it's got to be at least worth something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I was wrong.
It's a decent movie. It's okay.
It's one of those.
It's the 1999. I mean,
well, let's just say I would rewatch Virus as opposed to Supernova.
Oh God,
burn. So the basic plot is you have these kids at the beginning of the movie that accidentally playing a game. They accidentally are responsible for the death of another friend. Right? Yeah. And then years later, those children involved are in high school, and someone's come back to kill them. It's the basic slasher plot.
But I mean, there's just a couple things that factor into the movie. It just how it looks. Because I remember I never actually watched this on DVD when it was out. I just had the VHS, and I just remember just how hot. It just felt like the movie is hot and steamy all the time. Like it was just just so warm. Like, why does anybody want to be in any of these rooms? Because it feels like it's like 100 degrees. And with the new transfer, it still looks like it's 100 degrees. It didn't change, but it has this look of kind of like a Hammer-esque. Like if you had a teenager that never watched a Hammer film, make a Hammer film. Right. That's what it seemed like to me. Like it has cool aspects. Like, definitely some of the shots. I mean, I personally, when I first saw it when I was younger, just the fact of like the little kids getting together and they were just constantly saying the killers are coming, the killers are coming, and they start yelling that, and it's that. To me, still, even watching it a couple weeks ago before we did this show, I was like, man, this is really effective. Like, it's really, really good, and it's really well shot. I think the whole movie is really well shot. And that's why it seems, we talked about Curtains a few episodes ago. And this is very comparable to Curtains because it wants to be a horror film, but it never achieves that status. It's more like a thriller drama, whodunit type movie rather than your masked slasher type thing. Because I mean, we have the masked slasher, but I don't consider those whodunit. Whodunit's kind of like a cliche, like thriller from the 70s and 80s, and that's what this feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the film has a really, especially in that the flashback sequences have this really hazy look to them that I noticed. But which I think was where you're going with that. But I would agree. Like the cinematography in the film is actually quite good, and I never really noticed how good until this new release, because
it looks really good.
I mean it's I mean, this was a film that was, I think, on TV, 10 months after it premiered in the theater. I mean, it kind of has that TV look to it for me.
Yeah, I could see that.
But watching it in the Blu-ray definitely elevated. It made it look like a real film. So I definitely appreciated that. But I also get what you're saying about the dramatic elements, and that is what I said. I did like some elements of the film, and that is one of the elements that I really like, is that it kind of feels like a high school film, or like a slice of life high school film, with a bit of a side plot about whodunit horror. I mean, it's mostly kind of focused on their day-to-day interactions, getting harassed in the school hallway, and the guy, Slick in his van and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it has nothing to do with, Slick has nothing to do with anything in that whole movie.
He just wants to get laid.
Slick is my idol.
Slick is awesome. He's joined the pantheon of some of my favorite horror movie characters, I think, in this rewatch. He's great. Yeah,
he is great, but he has nothing to do with any of the horror stuff at all. Like obviously he figures in has a scene with the killer later, but he's just this kind of strange horror movie character or strange high school movie character that's kind of stuck in a horror movie. Which is kind of what I like. And I happen to I think this is because the way the movie is, because in Canada, in the tax shelter era, which was about the mid 70s to early 80s, we had a lot of directors working in Canada trying to make dramatic features, but there kind of wasn't any money in it. So there was a lot of guys who just kind of ended up making some dramas and then realizing, I can't put, bread on the table, and switching to horror. So even though they were switching to horror, they still kind of are preoccupied with the things that they're interested in. And Paul Lynch was definitely one of these guys. He made a couple films before this that were kind of like slice of life Canadian dramas. He made a movie called Blood and Guts, which is about a itinerant wrestling troupe who goes on the road to small towns in Canada. And a very similar film called The Hard Part Begins, which was about a country singer who does the same kind of thing. He's going from town to town singing and not making money. And, they're kind of like downbeat dramas. Very Canadian, but, obviously didn't make much money because he took a very hard turn into horror. And that's kind of where he stayed for the rest of his career, kind of doing horror, action, all kinds of genre films. But so I think that possibly could be why he's still kind of drawing on the dramatic features that he kind of built his career on. But I don't know.
That makes sense.
We can actually go into discussion about how he is responsible for the beautiful, well shot, well edited, beautiful movie, Academy Award winner No Contest with Andrew Dice Clay and Shannon Tweed.
Yes,
this movie is fucking fantastic. I still have No Contest on VHS, and that he definitely took a turn. Like, I remember watching what's his horror film with the it's like a monster. Is it a monster movie?
Humongous.
Yeah.
Yeah, Humongous was the next film he made.
Yeah, that is not good. I remember seeing it when I was younger, and if I was completely bored with a movie when I was little, I'm probably still going to be bored to this day.
Hold on a sec. Let me read the synopsis though, because the synopsis sounds interesting.
Yeah, so does the cover art of that movie.
A woman is raped at a cocktail party. Years later,
know where you stand.
Her son grows up to be a big, hairy, murderous monster who stalks a group of teens shipwrecked on his island. I mean, that sounds like gold.
That sounds like my jam, but
totally.
It's not.
Damn it. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'll revisit eventually one day, but I remember not liking that movie at all. But
yeah, it's I don't know. That personally, I don't mind the film. I kind of put it on about par with Prom Night. That's a film that suffered from really bad transfers throughout the years. And there's I think Scorpion put it out a couple of years ago. Or was it? Or maybe perhaps it was Code Red. I can't remember. One of the two put it out, and it's it's still dark. It's a darkly shot film, so it's often hard to make things out. But definitely the DVD is an improvement over old VHS, because the VHSs were terrible. You couldn't see what was going on, and it is a bit boring, but. Yeah, I don't know. I like the island. I like the whole island idea.
Yeah.
Explorers on an island. It never fails.
It's just too bad nothing happens on the island. But Leslie Nielsen's in it. Police Squad, and then fucking those Naked Gun movies. And I saw those when I was younger because my dad thought they were funny, and then I realized that Leslie Nielsen was in horror films, and then I couldn't stop laughing. Not because I thought those movies were funny, because they blow, but just because it's Leslie Nielsen, and just the look on his face is kind of looks like he has no idea what the fuck's going on. Stuff like Day of the Animals, he takes off his shirt and fights animals.
Yeah,
it's not believable.
No,
but yeah.
Well, Leslie Nielsen, he's the man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way he plays those characters in those films are straight-laced and not aware of how ridiculous they are. So when he's in a horror film playing kind of that same character, like he's still straight-faced, but so when you see him acting ridiculous, it's kind of like, it's always a kind of a callback to those films and the way he was acting. So it's kind of natural, I think, to laugh at what he's doing, or kind of take it,
I just reject what he's doing. I don't accept it.
Yeah, exactly. Like him fighting a bear would be like a Naked Gun sketch, shirtless fighting a bear. Like, it's ridiculous.
What if he fought the bear naked?
I don't know. Maybe I would have to. I don't want to see it, but then I would have to see it to make a decision, I think.
So you said you've been running this site for 15 years, which I was unaware of.
Yeah.
So you've dabbled into a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Is there any? Because I know on your site you have essential ? And you put yes or no.
Yeah.
Is that because you had maybe a lot of people say, "Why the fuck are you telling me to watch this?" Or just because that's the one that you might not get yelled at for?
Well, I got to a point with the site where I had, like, I don't know, 200, 250 reviews or something, and to me, going to a site with that many reviews, I'm like, where do I even start? I don't know anything about these movies. Where do I even get in? So that was kind of, I was trying to mark the not only the best films, but kind of the ones that are most important to the genre. I mean, I guess a good example of a film that I don't really like but is important is like Ginger Snaps. It's not one of my favorites, but when that film came along, there hadn't been any Canadian horror for like 10 years, and this film came along and was a big hit with critics, and kind of relaunched interesting, Canadian genre producers were like, oh, look, we can still make horror movies and still make money. So, why do we stop? So I, it's kind of a mix of things that I like, things that I think are important, and kind of like landmarks, I guess, like a film like The Mask, made in 1961, is super important because it was the first Canadian horror film. So, that is, to me, an essential film for people to watch, even if they don't like it, which, they're crazy.
Oh, there you go. If you watch
if they don't like it, but
I don't think I've ever seen that one. I don't know why you haven't recommended it to me, so now I'm kind of pissed. But it's something I'll seek out soon.
Yeah, that's actually, it's actually really good. interesting film. It's shot partially in 3D. This guy puts on this ritual mask, and he keeps having like dream flashbacks. And every time he does it, he enters this kind of like surreal 3D world where he's like paddling a boat, and like hands are like reaching out from the water trying to grab him, and priests are throwing fireballs at him. It's just it's pretty great.
Speaking of masks, I wanted to talk about the masked killer in Prom Night, and his sparkly mask. Did you guys notice?
Tribute to Giallo.
Disco mask.
Tribute to Giallo.
Okay. And what does he say? He keeps saying stuff when he's ready to kind of chasing something in this weird hiss. What is he saying? Kill, kill, or what else? What is he saying? Because I thought that was a really cool kind of touch in the movie.
He's probably whispering the killers are coming.
Yeah, probably. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I caught that.
Maybe he keeps on saying, "It's not who you come with, it's who takes you home."
I have no idea, but I thought that like that kind of stuff.
Said in every Prom Night movie, Sean. Jesus.
I know. I thought that touch, I think, with the killer was really different. I thought, it was, I liked that. I feel like the movie kind of goes into after school special for about, a good, 45 minutes, because you have the opening, then you have the plot being set up, and they're getting scared by some phone calls and things like that, and they don't know what's going on, and
we can't take our eyes off of Slick.
And Slick's just putting the Mac down.
Hey, I want to ask a question. When they're actually in the cafeteria, what the fuck does Slick on his plate? Are those hot dogs? Because that dude literally has 10 hot dogs on his tray.
Probably.
I'm just saying. I mean, that guy can eat some hot dogs.
He can. He reminds me.
This is why I'm jealous of Slick.
Well, he's kind of like.
Let's talk about Slick for a second.
I was gonna say he's kind of like the high school equivalent to the guy from Final Exam. I'm having a brain blank on his name. Who's the
Oh, Wild Man.
No,
that one.
No, the kid with the fro or whatever.
Radish.
Radish.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the high school
my Wild
version.
Man impersonation.
Yes, that was odd. You've been waiting to use that for months.
I love Final Exam. Let's talk about Final Exam for a second.
He reminds me of the college. He's the high school version of Radish. So Radish, that was him in high school. He had to learn some things.
But Slick will rape you. Slick would rape. If Slick had a chance, he would rape. Radish.
Maybe. Like I said, he's learned a few
Radish would hold
lessons.
your hair. Radish would hold your hair while you threw up. Slick would hold your hair, but get behind you and pull down your pants. That's the difference.
Like I said, maybe he learned some things through high school and had some awkward situations where he had to learn how to be a gentleman.
Yeah, you raped people.
Saying.
That was awkward.
Wow.
Gosh.
Okay. All I know is I want Slick's van now.
I just want to go to Hamilton High and get slicked by Slick.
Wow. Okay.
Let's mention that. Let's actually bring in, because I'm pretty sure that Paul is a big Prom Night fan, and he's probably seen them all, of course.
Oh yeah, it's
they all take place at Hamilton High. Anybody else aware of that?
I've never seen this.
They do.
Yeah,
but it's all different high schools. I mean,
but it's still Hamilton. Still Hamilton High.
Yeah. Well,
but it's a weird series.
Yeah.
It's it was one of the. It feels almost like one of those things where they started making a movie, and then wanted to change the title to Prom Night, other than Brock Simpson being in all the movies. And it's weird. I mean, he plays like a little kid in the first one, right? He's he's the curly haired kid.
Yeah.
Huh.
Or the one that pushes or not pushes, but the ones that saying the killers are coming.
Yeah.
The killers are coming. That's my best. That's my best thing I can do.
So as I was saying before we got sidetracked with these sequels, these crazy sequels. I was talking about the killer and it really kind of, I think, ramps up to slasher status like the last, I think, 30 minutes. I mean, it really takes 30 minutes or an hour to get to the first kill. Am I right?
Yes.
Other than the
it takes
opening.
a while.
Takes an hour exactly,
almost exactly. And for me, I was dozing off hardcore. So what you were saying, Paul, about it being possibly two movies, and then more of a drama, and then them kind of shoehorning in this slasher element, it kind of makes sense, But,
yeah.
Are you complaining it takes too long to get to the kill?
For me, yes, it did, because I was.
Do you like Halloween?
But see, I think Halloween had more as the drama.
It takes a long time to get a kill in Halloween.
But I think the drama and the whole babysitter angle of Halloween, I think it sets things up better. I feel like Prom Night, it kind of loses its way a little bit. But
there's more menace in Halloween. Like there's a consistent thread of menace throughout everything that's going on. And in Prom Night, you kind of. There's those scenes of like those pencil tapping scenes, when he's tapping the pencil on the paper, it's not that scary. He's making a lot of notes, he's got a lot of lists, a lot of to-do lists. It's not really that scary, not menacing anyways, but
it does once it gets into the slasher element, I feel like it works. And there's the one infamous kill in the movie, that I believe every time I see some sort of documentary or some sort of, around Halloween, you have these shows where it says top 20, kills or whatever like that. I always see that ending up on somebody's list. It is definitely, like I said,
although it probably is one of the weaker Canadian horror films, that's probably one of the best Canadian. That's one of the better kills for sure in any Canadian slasher, I think.
Yeah.
One thing that I also like about the film is the victims and the way they're generally treated. In the wake of Friday the 13th and everything, the whole kind of like the morality of the victims is kind of often their downfall. But I like the fact that this film is pretty much just like you did this 20 years ago and you can't escape it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's it doesn't matter how promiscuous you are, it doesn't matter if you're doing drugs or not, you're just dying.
Right.
Because you did something 20 years ago and you're not getting away. So I find that actually kind of a bit refreshing and a bit that, like, I guess there is some menace in that kind of idea versus something like Friday the 13th, where it's just he's killing anyone that he comes across if he doesn't like what they're doing or something.
Right. And the only ones that end up dying if they're not involved with that initial beginning, they're just kind of they're in the way, or they're you know what I mean. So
they have throwaway kills. Yeah. So that way they didn't have to kill any substantial or bigger characters. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the Blu-ray, because I always say Synapse. Do you say Synapse, Brad?
Synapse.
I think it's pronounced Synapse. I think it is, because they posted the other day something like, sin with S-Y-N of Synapse. They're doing some sort of play on words. I think it's Synapse.
Okay, I am joking with you because you say Synapse.
I said Synapse because you did. I don't know.
No.
I'm all messed up.
Synapse.
Anyway, Synapse put out this Blu-ray, and the DVD that I had of this was by Echo Bridge, and the DVD was just pure shit for a DVD.
Echo Bridge, baby. Echo Bridge.
So it's like...
Join us on Tuesdays for the Echo Bridge podcast with Brian Sauer and myself.
So Synapse comes in and saves the day, I think. Synapse, whatever. Okay, potato. Comes in, and they really do save this film from just shitty transfers. And we've said it earlier. This transfers is amazing. It looks really good, and it doesn't look like they did a lot of digital restoration or digital like it was a DNR and like that. It looks pretty natural for the time for film.
Well, Synapse doesn't play around.
I know they don't. They don't fuck around. Let me look at you. You keep saying the Demons and Demons 2 Blu-rays look way better than the Arrow ones. I mean,
no, Demons 2 looks better
Demons
than
2?
Arrow.
Those are down to like $14.99 a piece, so I may have to grab Demons 2. But this also comes with a plethora of special features. I wasn't able to get through all of them. I started watching the Horrors of Hamilton High, the making of featurette, and that was was really good. And it was done by Red Shirt Pictures. They seem to do a lot of special features. Like they do a lot for Scream Factory and some other labels. What did you guys get to dive into the special features at all?
Yeah, I watched them all. I mean, this was pretty much the main reason I wanted to pick up this disc. In Canada, the distribution is slightly different. So, yeah, I think you can get Prom Night on like an Echo Bridge kind of budget release, but they're also like Alliance Atlantis is the company that owns it in Canada, and they actually had a Prom Night box set out about 5-6 years ago that I ended up picking up for pretty cheap, $10 I think it was, and it has all 4 films in it, which is pretty cool. But and they look pretty good, but they did not have any extras. So that's really what I was looking forward to in this release. And I think they put together a pretty interesting selection. The one thing that I really wanted to see, which it ends up kind of being lame, but the extra scenes that they shot for the TV broadcast, like when they had to edit out some of the blood.
Yeah, but wasn't it something with the principal taking his wife somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, it's just totally like nonsense scenes that they probably shot 6 months later after the film was done. But I'd always the one of the first things I knew about Prom Night was the fact that it had premiered very quickly after premiered on TV very quickly after its theatrical run, and I'd heard that they'd added scenes in it, but I'd never been able to see them. So that was exciting to see, even though that they were pretty inconsequential and not that interesting, but it was great to finally see them, and also see Paul Lynch with his huge hair. I don't know, he's got a Lyle Lovett thing going on with his hair there. But it's interesting to hear him talk about the genesis of the film, and because he's not a guy that really does special features. I mean, he does a lot of. As I think I mentioned before, he has made a lot of movies, but they're kind of genre films. Nobody really cares about extras. They just want to see Shannon Tweed kicking Andrew Dice Clay's ass or whatever.
Could you imagine a commentary with Shannon Tweed, Andrew Dice Clay, and Paul Lynch, like a reunion for No Contest?
Someone's got to get on that. Yeah. This is gold we're giving you, people. Gold.
Let's not mention No Contest 2.
Which I've also seen too, yeah.
Nice. Did you? I watched this with headphones on because I always watch these after the kids go to bed and my wife goes to bed. So I watched the 2.0 audio. Did any of you guys listen to it? Check, because they did a 5.1 surround remix exclusively for this release. Did you guys check it out 5.1 or did you guys?
Of course, I checked it in 5.1.
Okay, well, how does it sound, Brad?
It sounds great. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say, Sean. No, I mean, overall, the release is, definitely one of the best that they've done from what has existed before. Yeah. From what this has came, because like I said, I've only seen it on VHS, and I knew the DVD was garbage, and it's just super, super dark. Mm-hmm. But no, this it actually brings light to the movie, and I think people will be able to enjoy it maybe a little bit more because of that disco scene the disco scene at the school looks really good now. Like before, it's just lights on the floor that you see flashing, and you're like, what's going on and who is dancing? Yeah. And then you actually get to see the Jamie Lee Curtis dance, which is sexy.
And they use that scene as the menu when you pop in the Blu-ray. It's great. Just a great loop of disco. It took me by surprise because normally it's like, ooh, it's a scary movie, but you pop it in and it's just disco fever, man. It's great.
And also seeing Jamie Lee Curtis whenever she's with her friend and they hear a noise and they go outside and then her blouse is undone and she's in her bra. Jamie Lee Curtis looks good. That's all I'm saying.
she's blessed in the cleavage department, and I don't think she's really shied away from that.
She's pretty much blessed all around. She's a good-looking lady.
The thing that I get with movies like these, especially in the 80s, is the women especially look like they all look like they're in their late 20s. You know what I mean? I don't. We've talked about this before, where back in the 70s and 80s, people didn't live as well as they do now. So people seem to age quicker. But I kind of like. I mean, I don't know if I'm biased just because I've seen so many of these movies, but I like that they don't look like babies. You know what I mean? I feel like it adds a little bit of a weight, maybe dramatic weight to the movie. I don't know.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like high school either.
No. Yeah. Who wants to relive their bullshit high school? You know what I mean?
I do. If Jamie Lee Curtis is there.
Well, exactly. You wish that you were at a high school with Jamie Lee Curtis and friends.
Hell yeah. And did we mention that fucking Michael Wincott's brother's in this?
No, I don't think we did.
Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Wincott. Side note, because I really, really like Michael Wincott, and it just gives me a chance to mention Michael Wincott in the podcast.
Yeah, I should mention one of my other favorite characters, too, is the janitor.
Oh, yeah.
The creepy janitor.
Yeah, what's his...
Roberts, I think it's Roberts Silverberg or something.
Robert Silverman.
Silverman, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He's
Scanners.
and he's great. Well, he may be he's also in the Brood.
Yeah,
he has a great role in the Brood where he Art Hindle's character comes to talk to him, and he's got the growth on his neck from the psychoplasmics, and he's all dressed in a like jogging suit, and he has this really like intense, bizarre speech, and I don't know, he's just so great in this. Like he's kind of creepy, but he's kind of like I don't know, there's something about him that's like just beyond like a bit of a creepy janitor.
Yeah.
And when all the girls are mooning him and everything,
butt shot.
It's so weird. It's such a weird.
That scene's so out. Yeah, that's hilarious.
But I love that. I love those little moments with these kind of actors that are not that are kind of like playing a really stereotypical role, but are kind of not really a stereotypical act. Like are not just doing a throwaway whatever kind of thing. There's a bit of an edge to that character that goes beyond just kind of like he might be the possible killer, but just a weird. Interest that he draws, or that attention that he draws to himself. But
nice.
Anyways,
he was also in Jason X.
Oh yeah,
he's the one that gives the orders or something. I forget exactly what the name of his role is, but he's like laying down and he's like talking to the computer. He's that guy.
Oh really? Wow. Okay.
Well, Jason X like has a bunch of fucking cameos from people. So
yeah,
but,
nice. Jason X rules, everybody. I don't care what anyone says. All right. Well, I think this comes, even though the movie for me, Prom Night, is kind of iffy on my, on Jamie Lee Curtis's resume, and even like with slashers, like it's not my favorite. But I think that the end, I think the last bit of it really moves it a little bit higher. But I think that just because this movie hasn't had a fair, home video release, that this Blu-ray looks great. So if you're a fan of Prom Night and you've been waiting for, finally a good release, I think this is a no-brainer to pick up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been, especially with Canadian films, we've been so blessed this year with such great title, like Curtains disc, the Deadly Eyes disc, and I watching all these films that I originally watched for my website, 10, 12 years ago, on VHS copies and dubs that people made for me and stuff like that, and seeing them again, especially Prom Night and especially Curtains too. It's just it's incredible. Like you really appreciate how much you can. How much you can newly appreciate the film on a Blu-ray versus the way it used to look. Yeah. The difference is just is incredible. just incredible. So, yeah, even though Prom Night is not the best film, definitely this is the kind of release that will probably, if you kind of liked it, maybe you watch it, you're like, well, I think I did that. I kind of liked it, and I watched it. I was like, it's better than I remember. It's not bad. So
I think it gives everyone who's seen it or who's seen it before, hadn't seen it in a while, and then if you haven't seen it and you're if you're younger and you want to kind of go through, start watching all the slashers, that you should have seen or people recommend to you. Like, this is the best way to watch it and to discover it for the first time, for sure.
Yeah.
So all right,
for sure.
So that'll do it for this week's podcast. But Paul, I wanted to give you a chance to tell us what's coming down the line for Canucksploitation.com. Do you have anything coming down the pipes that people should know about?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No. Well, yes and no. I mean, the thing is, I've been doing the site a long time, and since I've been doing it, I've been a lot of other projects have come my way. So oftentimes the site kind of gets pushed back to the back burner in ways I wish it wouldn't. But I don't know what do I have come up. I do have a. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I've got other stuff that's not necessarily related to the site. So I started.
Go ahead, plug it. Tell people. Tell them.
That shit.
I'm plugging it. I'm plugging it. I just started a book series called Spectacular Optical with a friend of mine, Kayla Janice, who's also a cult film fan and writer. So we've released a first volume called Kid Power, which is about it's about cult kids films. Some are Canadian, but not all. So I have a piece in that covering Hawk Jones. Let
me tell you, people, you can find Hawk Jones. Watch it. Trust me.
Yeah. Shot on video, 80s film. I think it was made in Philadelphia or Chicago or something. With all kid cast doing like a police thriller where they shoot each other and everything. So it's a lot of fun. So yeah, we finished up book 1. That's kind of out there, and we're starting on books 2 and 3 at the moment. And yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
I have a lot of projects on the go, but I can't. Unfortunately, none of them are very Canadian film related. Well, this is the worst plug ever.
Where to find out more of your stuff?
Yeah, it's not very good.
Where should people find? Can people follow you on Twitter? Do you have a personal website that tracks all your other stuff, or where should people?
Yeah, if you want to, I do have there's a Canucksploitation we're on Facebook and Twitter. That's a good place to follow. I do try to keep those up and tell you about interesting Canadian films that are coming out on DVD and all that kind of stuff. And then I have a personal Twitter, which is just Paul Corupe, and that has all my projects on it.
Cool.
Which there's a lot, some of which I can't talk about yet, but
okay.
There's a lot of there's stuff coming, a lot of stuff.
Cool. We'll have
such a fucking tease.
We'll have.
Well, I know. I just don't want to be. Like, I'm doing this and this, and then people are like, "What the fuck? That guy talks so much shit on that podcast. Like, what is he doing?"
No, that's my job.
Oh, sorry.
Cool. Well, Paul, I want to thank you so much for joining us today to talk
thanks.
Prom Night. We really appreciate it, and we love your site. So everyone wants to check it out. Canucksploitation.com. There'll be links over at thescreamcast.com for all Paul stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
New listeners, we'd love to have your feedback. So you can.
You say newt listeners, like newt like in Aliens?
No, new listeners.
Okay, new listeners.
We'd love to have your feedback. If you go to iTunes, you can type in ScreamCast, all one word. Type that in, and you'll find our show, and leave us a nice little review.
Every time you do this, I get a review about myself.
Yeah, Brad needs his ego stroke. So if you guys could just
if you really like the show and you hate Brad, go ahead and express it, because people are.
Okay, whatever.
It's fine. But no, seriously. Everybody that listens, even if you dislike me, I appreciate listening. And I'm glad you actually like the podcast. So a couple people don't like me, but that's fine. I am actually thankful that people are listening to the show. I'm thankful for we're getting reviews. I'm thankful for, people like Ryan Turek from Shock Till You Drop, like paying attention to us, like out of nowhere. That I thought that was crazy. Like Ryan Turek just calls us up and is like, "Hey man, I love your show." And I'm like, "What the fuck? You're Ryan Turek. You have Bloodcast and Shock Till You Drop. What the hell are you listening to us for?"
You were giving out hand jobs at
the hand jobs. I got hand jobs. I did hand jobs. That was after the fact. And of course, one of us coming to us and asking us to be a part of their family, and of course Nerdly UK, they were one of the first ones that came by. It's just overwhelming in a way, because like if we said countless times on the show that there's tons of horror movie podcasts, and Sean and I are just two guys. Like, we're not fucking writers or directors that have made it, large and are doing this like a couple other podcasts, like, Adam Green and Joe Lynch have theirs, and like people are actually listening to us and giving us an hour of their day. Yeah, that means a lot. Cool. And our listeners are flying through the roof at this point, and we're getting more subscribers it just keeps going up and up every day. And it's nice. It's a nice feeling. So whether you love us or hate us, we're thankful for that you listen.
Yeah. So. Huge thanks. I mean, I can't even get my friggin' review of Necromantic Blu-ray together. And it's like, Jesus, I'm the worst. Worst at writing. I can't.
You're also you're harder to schedule than the guests now. I want people to know that.
Let's just say
first, it was hard to schedule guests. Now it's easy to schedule guests. Sean's the obstacle.
Yeah, sorry. This time of year, it gets crazy. Just having 3 kids, and there's a lot of family stuff that I won't get into.
People know.
So a lot of family stuff that I need to tend to, and with my extended family, that special events come up that I need to be a part of. So yeah, it gets a little harder. But hey, we're doing it. We're doing it, man.
That's the thing, is we're just two guys that have normal lives. We don't do this for a living. We don't get paid to do anything like this.
In fact,
a lot of the people do.
I probably spend more money now that I'm doing the podcast than what I did before. Just because I'm like, ooh, all these movies are on my radar. So here I am, like pre-ordering like a mother. So you do what you got to do. I wanted to give a shout out again to Wolfmen of Mars. They provide the music, and you'll actually be able to hear our intro in the full song form coming out very soon. They have it all done. It's all edited, and their new album's coming out very soon. I don't have an actual release date yet, but keep an eye on wolfmenofmars.bandcamp.com, because that'll be posting shortly. And all their music is available on there for name your own price. You can get it for free if you want. If you want to throw them a few bucks, which we recommend, throw them like $5 an album or something like that, But they're awesome. It's so cool like that they offered. I asked them, but it's cool that they said yes.
They offered, but
they didn't offer. They didn't offer. That's a lie. I asked them, and they were they're kind enough to say, yeah, we'll write something for you. So. It's fantastic. And then I wanted to give a shout out to Coffee Shop of Horrors. I've been drinking their coffee, so I wanted to let you all know about them. They have an Indiegogo thing going, but it seems like if you're in their area, so it's like they're trying to do a mobile coffee trailer type thing. And so you can go to coffeeshopofhorrors.com, and there should be a link to their Indiegogo thing. So pretty cool. I wish I had a coffee trailer coming by my work. You know what I'm saying?
No.
But their coffee's good. I approve of their coffee, and I'm kind of a snob. So
you are.
With shipping, it gets a bit pricey, but for me, it's worth it. And a lot of good stuff. So I think that's going to do it for our shout-outs. Of course, nerdly.co.uk is continuing to post our show over in the UK, so we're going to thank them for doing that. And but our official home is at oneofus.net. So go over there, check out our show, check out all the other shows and their reviews and everything like that. And of course, you can find me and Brad and the shows over at thescreamcast.com. So nothing's changing. Just we got oneofus.net behind us, which is really cool. And that's going to do it for this week's show. I want to thank all of you for listening. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving. The party's just begun.
Don't fuck it up.
But I do have to pee. I'll be right back. You can listen.
Piss it up.
No,
we're podcasting.
You mean your formal like dickhead training? Hey, Paul, do you have any fucking headphones?
No problem. Hold on.
Paul's taking care of the baby. Go in the bedroom. Lay down.
Are you sure you don't have a prostitute over there?